My next trip out of London took me across the Sea to Venderbite. Apparently there was a group of 12 tomb colonists who wanted a tour of the Sea. Death was apparently not enough for them. They still sought greater things. Still, what was there to be gained from losing any of them? I decided it would be time that I could take a few of them. I helped my brisk campaigner cheat death, though it was not easy and required a great deal of muttersalt, soup, and a judgment's egg, the egg of a dream. We managed to bind a new soul to hers. What she had once had was gone, burned up into a patch of smoke, and she had a new soul but the same mind. She cheated death and was grateful for it. The woman recovered and was stronger than ever. My doctor was safe. Along the way we found the secrets to my sigil-eaten navigator. He was an unusual man, to say the least. We climbed the secret walls of Frostbound to look for his answers. I was very badly wounded, and he rendered unconscious. Thankfully, with my campaigner's recovery, we were able to save him and awaken him. My navigator gave me a destination, the avid horizon. There we found a page of his journal. It was tacked on to several other requests for forgiveness, pleas from those who had gone mad or committed unholy crimes, pleas for forgiveness. I learned the secrets of my navigator there. He and his comrades had gotten lost at the edge of the world, near King Eater's castle. They were slowly driven mad as they were forced to feast upon one another to survive. Not a one went into the pot willingly, even his younger brother. The navigator survived and made it back to London, but his crimes were unforgivable. Cast out of both home and hearth, he wanted to forget. So he went to the Chapel of Lights, and the sigil on his head was inscribed to make him forget, and now he remembered. Knowing that he would easily be able to repeat the crime if he just forgot again, he decided it was time to pay for his sins, and he wanted me to take him somewhere where he could end his days. I decided I would. There was nothing I could do, so I would leave him to his atonement. To my absolute shock, as we came out of the avid horizon, a mountain of black glass and purple light rose up from the sea to meet us. It was Mount Nomad, the black glass mountain that eats ships. My father had told me stories of killing it, but this thing was a god of the Neath. Nothing could ever truly stop it. With all the force that my ship and my crew could muster, we tried to retreat, but it followed us doggedly. Nevertheless, we continued firing on it. The memento mori, my father's great cannon, burned great patches in its skin, the black glass shattering underneath it, until finally, after nearly losing my ship and my crew to its terror and its force, we managed to sink the abominable thing. I had to take a trophy. This was my sign. I was the sea captain now, not my father. I found the pulsing golden heart of Nomad within its wretched rushes, alongside a black diamond, and these were both added to my collection. I had succeeded where others failed. Along the way, we had stopped by Gatorsmorn, Irem, and the Conate for my tomb colonists. Not all of them survived, but they at least seemed to enjoy their trip nonetheless. We headed down to the Mangrove College, and I ventured into the Wispways. I managed to gain an elegate kuko who would repeat some of the words I said, and a bit of treasure here and there, some dark secrets from beyond when civilization reigned. I headed down to Varchos and saw off the great leader of the Temple of Mihir on a pilgrimage to the Elder Continent. The sick and the infirm followed him, hoping for redemption in Mihir's light. They ventured into the dark where even light could not follow, so they brought their own with them. They piled on great stacks of fungus on either side of them and lit them ablaze as they walked. The entire city seemed empty, saddened by their departure on this pilgrimage at the end. I took my leave. Venturing to the Empire of Hands, I gave my navigator his desired result. He sold his soul to the Pentecost apes and left. Though I learned much from him, there was little I could do. So I saw him off and remembered the man. He had wanted so badly to be absolved of his sins. I hope now he finds some kind of peace. While I was there, I visited the adventuress who was trying to crack the secrets of the Monkey Emperor's tomb. The arrow trap gave us some trouble. However, I managed to convince her clay man, Barnabas, to take all of the bolts for me. I nearly fell into a snake pit, but To my absolute hilarity, the snakes were long dead. It's all well and good to build a snake pit, but if there's no way to feed them, then it does very little. The final door to the tomb, there were no foreseeable entrances, but there were a few dusty red chips by the side. I recognized the smell from my time at the Isle of Cats. It was red honey. I chewed on a few and remembered what the old monkey emperor remembered. Tears streamed down my face as I sought the answer for the door. It seemed so easy now, and I pushed my way in. At the last moment, the adventuress betrayed me. With poison-tipped rapier, she almost took my life, but instead collected the souls that were abounding within this tomb and left her clayman Barnabas to guide me. We were locked in as she used some of my own dynamite to blast the door shut. Barnabas was unfinished, though. She had told him to guard me, but it was his choice whether to obey. He began digging alongside me. However, to my absolute delight, my second child, the monkey foundling, the little blonde-haired girl, she saved me, dropping a rope into the vault and helped pull me out with the help of my crew. My daughter of the sea had truly earned her stripes that day. It was a strange thing, running back to port only to see the adventuress surrounded by the Pentecost apes and the flea-bitten mayor of Port Stanton. After the way she had treated me, I sided with the monkeys. They at least were willing to give me a fair shake. Barnabas burst through the jungle. However, he was not there to save the adventuress. He was rather miffed at being left behind, and apprehended her for our interrogation. When it was finally decided what to do with her and her patch of souls, I left her punishment to Barnabas and the monkeys, and gave my soul, well, not my soul, the soul of the monkey emperor that the adventuress had stolen, to the mayor of Port Stanton. The emperor would be pleased by my actions, and it would aid in their exodus. I again had no idea why the Londonites hated the people of the Empire of Han so, but if they truly wished to head east, who was I to stop them? I managed to make some friends amongst the Wild-Wheel court, as friendly as monkeys and humans get, and accepted a commission to give them some fuel and supplies as well, for with the monkey emperor's soul they had all that they needed of souls. On my return home, I bought a strange pot of ink at Cannes. At Cannes' glory, we headed out, and managed to make our way to Port Cecil. The living coral there wanted one last chess game with me as I gave it the last of its chess pieces. I knew that my Narcissus outcast would die if I won, so I did the only honorable thing. I purposely threw the game. The coral lamented choosing me to help it, for I was not concerned with great wealth, merely my comrade's well-being. The outcast, now the survivor, joined me. We talked for a bit over dinner. Though human language was difficult for him, he hoped that he might share some of his secrets with the other rubber men and be forgiven. Regardless, he always had a place on my ship. I took a chess piece, the last of the chess pieces from that wretched battlefield with the coral, and headed off to Venderbite. I delivered the tomb colonists in more or less one piece, and gained my money for the tour. Finally, it was time for the curator to be off. I visited him, and he saw my glowing Apochian chess piece. I gave it to him, and received a basket of rubies in return. The ink of Khan that I had found, it glowed with a violent light. He took it within himself, drank it, and claimed that a moth would feed off of his flesh. I received a bejeweled mummied hand as a reward, and then that was it. I had collected all the colors of the curator. His chest burst open like some unholy cocoon, and a glittering moth with wings the color of everything beneath the Z was born. I stared at it and watched for just a moment. Was this really life? Was it death? Was it rebirth? Needless to say, the last of the curator's treasures was given to me gratefully by his loyal steward, then the moth let free. It would seem the curator had more journeys to take, and I as well. I could use this money to support Noctis and Marina, and soon, perhaps retire. When I returned back to London, I shared my knowledge of the Z with the Academy. Unfortunately, what I had learned was a bit too much for some of their scholars, and they were driven mad, though not before they managed to piece together one of the great secrets of the Z. Finally, I spoke with Noctis of my adventures, and had dinner with Marina. The boy was becoming a good sailor while I had been off. It was a long journey, and I was glad to be home. I finished my trading with the merchant venturer, and he finally said he had what he needed to pass through the great gate. We were going to go to the avid horizon and see what lay beyond. Before I could, though, I decided it would be time to visit the surface. My father had told me about the surface of Naples and Avernus, but I wanted to see it for myself. It was beautiful but dangerous. I made trade where I could as I passed through the Cumian Canal up to the surface. Lots of fuel, lots of good men, lots of supplies, wasted. I traded in coffee and ferried where I could, but the sun, it burned my skin, so before long I had to leave. Phoebe, the sister who'd survived Hunter's Keep, came to me, still covered in bandages, and touched my arm. She wished to find her family on the surface and bade that I let her go. I paid for her train ticket and bid her well, knowing that I would never see her again. The scarred sister was gone. I hoped that she found what she was looking for. On my return to the Cumian Canal, a man from the surface killed one of my crewmen for some perceived slight. My other crew and I pounced upon him. The authorities of the Cumian Canal cared very little about what happened to a single sailor, so we locked him up. I would deal with this prisoner as I had dealt with the other mutineers. No matter what, justice would be done on my ship. And, in an effort to assist the exodus of the apes, I made a contract with the Iron Republic to begin ferrying hydrogen for them. I finally made my respects to the Pirate King as well. He took the prisoner that I had taken from the surface, the man who had killed my own. I finally got a chance to meet the Pirate King on the Isle of Cats. He looked more of a lawyer than a lord. Nevertheless, he offered me my first sip of red honey, and I saw memories of the man that I had taken. Tears sprang to my eyes as I saw another love, a father, a mother. Was there children? What had I taken from this man, I wondered. I lost myself and awoke covered in tears. The Pirate King gave me his trust and rewards, but I cared little for that. I returned to London. I wanted to see my own family again. How much more could I keep going? How much of the sea was left to see? Could I still keep this up after all that had happened? Truthfully, I don't know. I may never know. I was glad to see Marina and Noctis. I took their hands and gave them a warm hug, and decided to rest in London for a time. There was no telling when the Z would call me out again. For once, a part of me didn't want to go back.